Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana, the hostess with the mostest, the snaggatooth one. Let's get into this. So, I just wanted to first, before we hopped into the beginning of this series, that I received bad news today. If you listened yesterday, or within the past week or so, even in the past, then you know that the energy Scorpio and Aries in particular exudes is highly aggressive. Mars and Pluto are the two planets that are associated with these zodiac signs. If you know, you know. If you don't, just be aware that the ancestors, good and bad, are going to be acting out through these zodiac signs. Especially if you have, Pluto or Scorpio rather, in certain houses in your chart. We'll get to that because we discussed that already. But the transit and the overall movement of these energies is very peculiar at this time. Yesterday we had the discussion of warfare being heightened, and the news that I got was just confirmation of the downloads and messages that I've been receiving from God. So it's very important at this time to raise your vibration via prayer. Prayer. Faith that God is going to do what it is that you're asking for, and that things are going to be held on the upper end, okay? This is very important because these signs are associated with war and ancestry. Of course, this is the energy of the earth, right? This lower dimension. And again, that's a different topic, but the gist here is to be familiar of the energy that's being transited, right? What's being moved around, it's being spread out. And if you have particular placements, it can affect you, make you a little more emotional, a little more depressed, a little more aggressive, and just really make your animal instincts come alive and thrive at this time. So if you know anyone who might be a Scorpio or an Aries, try to be a little bit more sensitive and gentle with them around this time. Also Aquarius and Taurus, but mainly the Aries and the Scorpio, okay? Because of the transits that are taking place right now, okay? But much of the information we're going to be discussing is not going to be found on Google. Maybe YouTube, right? Because YouTube might be like the hub for large loads of information on one topic from multiple different, sources, whether it is credible or not, whether these pieces of information are considered to be scholarly or acceptable or even correct, okay? Now, you might be able to go on some more private platforms like Clubhouse or Patreon or even like OnlyFans and get more direct of a, type of information if you have direct contact to the vessel or the person that is divulging this information. These places, you're more than likely going to have to pay some sort of subscription. And this is probably people who are a little bit more popular, right? Or they just have a larger following or a larger fan base, okay? But maybe, you've tapped into a particular level of consciousness. This is the only way that you would even be here on this podcast right now. And this is a way that you can tell if you're even going to be able to follow this conversation or to partake in it, okay? There are several different timelines, several different dimensions. We've only tapped into land, sea, and the spirit, okay? There are several realities, and I'm not tapped into all of them. we, like I said, are only going to be covering 3 of them because those are the 3 that I am quite familiar with, that I have a better understanding of, that would be relative to the overall collective, right? Or the greater group of people, okay? I've had downloads, psychic investigations, downloads of all sorts, right? So visions, dreams, different types of information coming to me to confirm something that I've gotten in the spirit multiple times, readings by tarot card readers or prophets, conversations with other people of God. And it's important to have the understanding of the timelines that everyone is connected to. Even people that are deceased are still connected to the land and the sea. Okay? And before we even get into the rules and the laws, I just wanted to talk about how, God told me to make this a series. So here we go, right? We'll break down the rules of these dimensions in a little more detail. And of course, right, we've had the initial intro to how we're gonna, I guess, format this conversation. We've had the initial conversation. The creator wanted to make sure we all have a better understanding of these things because how they can affect us. Okay? So I thought probably we're connected to all of them, that it would probably be a little more of a challenge to figure out which one comes first, right? I was undecided on which realm to cover first. But the rules and laws that are most unknown and the realm that is most complex should go first, right? So the spirit world it is. Of course, we know intention is key. However, karmic debt, generational debt, current debt, right, that you've accrued for yourself in this timeline. Not to mention energies that are connected to your purpose, and basically the word of God, right, are all factors as previously discussed. So we need to have that conversation first, okay? The spirit world is the most consistent dimension there is, okay? With that being said, you might want to learn as much as possible about the dimension because it is connected to you, your ancestors, your enemies, your spirit guides, the angels, the unseen, the dead. And it is the actual, I guess, pinpoint or the center, if you will, of all of the things that God created. Okay? The spirit world is basically like grandma's house. Okay? So this is a place everybody goes. Everybody's comfortable there. Everybody can be themselves. There's a bunch of love, a bunch of war, a bunch of food, a bunch of abundance, a bunch of lessons. It's history. This is the history. Okay? This dimension is where everything is deposited. It comes from there, it goes there. Every cycle that we all go through, we have to make a pit stop at the spirit world. So before we come into this dimension, we're in the spirit world. When we leave this dimension, we're in the spirit world before we go to our next destinations, okay? Don't ask me how I know. I know. Now, karma from other realms can strike you if you are highly disobedient or break rules or laws from other realms, okay? And it will actually start to seep over. So let's just say you're earthbound. You are a living vessel because some people are not alive and they're still earthbound, right? So you're a living vessel that is earthbound, okay? And you practice witchcraft. You have now opened yourself up to karmic debt that can be racked up from any realm. Now remind, we're only covering 3 of multiple. There's so many different timelines and dimensions that we can't even fathom. But I'm saying the 3 that we're discussing, out of those 3, the spirit world is the most important. Is because it is what connects everything to the next thing. Okay? It is what connects everything together. Like I said, it's grandma's house. It's the base. Okay? It's the foundation. So, if you're earthbound, right, a living vessel here, and you proceed to do spiritual work, you have opened up a threshold that will allow energies, entities, attacks, information, anything that can connect you back to the spirit world. You've opened yourself up to it, good or bad. Okay, so this is how you see people who are evil and practice witchcraft get to be able to peek into the future of others. They get to become spiritually manipulative, like more stronger. They appear to become more abundant and blessed in this dimension. It's because they've opened themselves up and made themselves accessible to the spirit world. You also make yourself, listen to me, a target. Okay? The more you attack, the more you break rules that are related to another dimension, the more you make yourself a target for all of the dimensions. Some people that are really crafty and really good at this, they know how to redirect energies, they know how to project, they know how to delay their own karma, and this is how destiny swaps work. This is how psychic attacks work. This is how all the things work, all things spiritual work, okay? When you make yourself accessible to the spirit world and you engage in things. Now, if you're a spirit doing spiritual work, then you're in your rightful place. The creator will have you do what it is that he needs you to do while you're in that state. But once you cross over and come into a new threshold, you are no longer to be operating out of bounds. That would be out of bounds, right? So we have inbound rules and out of bound rules. So of course, prayer, fasting, those are rules and laws that actually govern you as a physical vessel for this dimension and timeline. Because yes, you are also opening yourself up to spiritual attacks, spiritual enlightenment. So it's the same thing, okay? It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you're on. Once you engage and partake in activities that is connected to the spirit world, or that connects you to the spirit world, you become more accessible to all of the other portals. So this is why even when you're doing good and you are doing everything that God wants you to do, you still get targeted and attacked because you've opened yourself up to the things that are connected to that dimension. Again, good or bad, these are timelines, okay? Quite distinct from energies, and we'll get into that, but it's important to first lay this ground rule down, right? Or this knowledge or understanding that you make yourself a target for attacks and blessings when you open yourself up to spirituality, religion, or anything that will connect you to something in the spiritual realm, or when you go beyond this realm, okay? And it's also important to note that the other dimensions are not limited in the things that they can do. So this is why prayer is very important in building on your relationship and your discernment, because attacks can come in many forms and the vessel is not up to you. Okay, remember, these animals are connected to other timelines more than the water and the land. They're also plugged into the spirit realm, and this is how we get attacks through them. But that's another topic. But I do love y'all. I hope y'all are going to enjoy your long weekend. drink y'all water, eat y'all fruit and vegetables, and sip y'all tea. Love y'all. Peace.